I am not here to argue.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
And welcome
to another edition of I'm Not Here to Argue.
With
Gherkin Pickwater
and
the Velvet Fist.
Yay!
We could have said that in unison.
But we didn't.
That's true.
We will at some point.
Maybe. Alright, so we've got cocktails here.
We do. Well, I mean, of a sort. What we have is Alizé on ice.
Okay, we've got a beverage here. It's some sort of fruity wine.
I believe it's a mixture of vodka, botanicals, and cognac, but I could be wrong. That's what's in Hypnotique.
When you say vodka botanicals, what does that mean?
Flowery
Flowery
essences.
vodka.
Fruit, flowers, and vodka.
Fruit, flowers, and vodka. Vodka. Yes.
They're all vodka-based liqueurs. There are 8. I believe we got the pink passion fruit version.
Okay, because of course that would be pink.
It's a blend of French vodka, passion fruit juice, and other exotic fruit juices.
What is special about French vodka? It's
made in France. Beyond that, probably nothing.
Okay, interesting.
It's a grain liquor, like any other grain liquor.
But I thought vodka was made of potatoes.
Aha! You have fallen into their trap. The thought trap that makes people believe that vodka is made of potatoes. No. You make alcohol out of potatoes if you can't grow anything good to make alcohol out of. If you can go grain, you make a much, I believe, according to my palate, a much smoother vodka grown made with grain instead of potatoes. But you can make vodka out of potatoes, and sometimes they do. But normally if vodka is made out of potatoes, it'll say on the bottle, potato vodka.
So what kind of grain is vodka mostly made of?
I don't know.
Okay. Alright.
I think half the answer.
Okay.
For the other half, you have to go to Wikipedia.
Alright. I do have a question for you.
What's your question for me?
Why do you never finish your French fries?
I ate all of my French fries last night, thank you very much, all by myself.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wait, you did, because I went home.
Yeah, you were, yes, well, okay, yeah, you weren't home, but I didn't put any aside, I didn't save any, I ate all my own French fries.
Okay. Why is it that when I'm home you never finish your French fries?
Because I like to feed you.
Okay. That's fine. Do you have a question for me?
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Today, most vodka is made from fermented grains such as sorghum, corn, rice, rye, or wheat.
What is sorghum?
Sorghum is grain. I think it's often used as a sweetener.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And you said corn?
Corn, which is probably what most alcohol is made out of because
we got so much of it.
We got so fucking much of it.
Right, well, good to know.
But I don't know. I'm going to do a thing with my legs, and you can put your leg back on top of my legs. There we go.
That makes ketchup vodka feel a lot more awkward now.
Ketchup vodka?
Mm-hmm.
Making vodka out of ketchup?
Or, ketchup flavored vodka.
Who would do that?
People who believe that vodka is made of potatoes.
No, seriously, ketchup vodka is a real thing?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up now.
God damn it.
What?
You've put that idea in my head, and I'm really bothered by it.
Why are you bothered by it?
Because ketchup is probably not my favorite condiment by a long shot, and the idea that someone would make vodka out of it, maybe. But the idea that someone would make vodka flavored ketchup, no, that's bad juju. That sounds terrible.
Well, and Googling ketchup vodka, the first thing that comes up is on Amazon.com, Stokes Bloody Mary ketchup with vodka.
Can I see? It's a ketchup that has vodka in it. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, moving on. I do finish my French fries most of the time.
Okay.
But I like sharing them with you because I like to share them with you. And I'm trying to cut back on carbs. Reduce my carb intake to some degree. And so sharing my French fries with you helps with that goal.
Okay. Right.
Those are two reasons.
So this is made with Chase vodka and real Bloody Mary tomato ketchup, made in Suffolk, England.
You don't put ketchup in a Bloody Mary, though.
No,
you don't. You don't put ketchup in a Bloody Mary. That's not what goes in a Bloody Mary.
That was quite...
Tomato juice goes in a Bloody Mary. Hot sauce. There's a number... You can put hot sauce in it. You don't have to. There's a number of other fluids that you might put in a Bloody Mary, none of which are ketchup.
Now I'm looking at a video from Spoon University, and it's a recipe for ketchup and salsa Bloody Mary.
Okay, but that's a special thing. That's why they had to make a special thing out of it. A ketchup and salsa Bloody Mary, not just a Bloody Mary, because Bloody Marys don't have ketchup in them.
All right. And going further down, myrecipes.com asks, would you drink this cocktail made with ketchup and Jaeger?
No. No, I won't. Unless you want me to make you drink it on one of these podcasts.
It's okay.
And I'll drink Jaeger. I don't have a problem with Jaeger. Jaeger is just another anisette liquor. It's perfectly fine in its own way.
All right. So you have no questions, but you do have an answer.
Why are you bothered by my not finishing my French fries? The cat wants to know too.
Because you always buy them.
Well, because it comes with the meal. Because I'm getting a drink and the sandwich. Might as well get the fries as well if they're essentially free, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you'll eat them if I don't.
Alrighty.
And sometimes I want them. Like in Jack in the Box, I usually eat them because they're curly fries. But I'll also eat the 2 tacos.
Right.
That come with the sandwich.
In the Munchie Meal box.
In the Munchie Meal box, yes. 2 tacos, a really bad sandwich, and some French fries and a drink.
Yes.
It's a good deal.
Yep.
Especially it's like $7 or something for all that.
Yep. Because Jack in the Box, like Taco Bell, after a certain hour, is only appealing to the stoners.
Wish I stoned more. I don't stone hardly at all. And with getting that new job, it made me like, oh my god, if they make me do a drug test, will I be able to pass it? And I'm like, yeah, probably. I mean, I've only done that one thing recently, and that's been quite a while ago.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
You're a little behind.
I am very behind. So, that said, my question for you was, why do you care about my French fries? Mm-hmm. The question for me is, why don't I care about my French fries?
Mm-hmm.
What's the cat doing?
Playing with his bag that's on the floor.
Okay, as long as it's not, peeing on the bag on the floor, then it's fine.
All right.
What are our topics for today?
Well, so you selected some of these topics. And put them in order, which was nice of you. So the first one that you've selected is talking about attractiveness and attractiveness and how we have switched since we met.
Well, when we first met, you barely talked at all.
So, provide the context. Give the greater
That's exactly
world.
what I was doing. I was in the process of doing that when you stopped me to tell me to do it.
Okay.
When we first met, you barely talked at all. You were very quiet.
When we first met, it was a quiet night in San Francisco. It was an evening, slightly foggy.
Did we go to a donut shop?
Yes.
Yeah, and then back to my place.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first few months, you didn't talk much, and you talked so little that I thought maybe you were on the spectrum.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about that at one point.
Okay.
I asked you if you were on the spectrum. You don't remember this?
No.
Yep.
Okay.
We had a conversation about it.
Alrighty. It must have been a very short conversation.
Your conversation was maybe. your contribution was maybe. I might be. I'm like, oh, okay, and then I just accepted that. But as I got to know you more, it was clear that you were just not particularly communicative in the beginning.
Talkative. The word is talkative.
No. Yeah, I'm going. Communication wasn't your strongest asset at the time.
Okay, fine.
But why was that? Why were you so quiet then?
I don't have a memory of being that quiet, because like, why would you continue hanging out with me if I was just like this lump sitting in the corner?
Well, you weren't a lump sitting in the corner. You were a beautiful lump who was having sex with me, and
metaphorical sex, not actual sex.
We had some actual sex, and what else? You're fun and you're funny when you would talk to me, and I think it was just you're shy around new people, even if they are people that you're having sex with, maybe.
Yeah,
but
generally.
You're shy, and it took a while to get you to come out of your corner and interact with the rest of me.
Right. Because you were the belle of the ball.
I was the belle of the ball, in that I was being held hostage by a giant lion man, and he would give me books.
I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't either.
Okay.
I've got your foot.
But you also know that is not what I meant.
What did you mean by the belle of the ball?
The center of...
Attention?
Yeah, the center of the social maelstrom.
Okay. I mean, if you say so. I don't consider myself a very social person, so now you talk a great deal more than I do. And I talk less, I think, than I used to.
Well, yeah, because when we were hanging out before, we would hang out one day a week, usually, and that day would coincide with game night.
Oh, that's weird. I think every night was game night, or at least many nights of the week were game night.
Yeah. Yes, that is also the case. So a lot of game nights, and you talk a lot on game nights because you're usually the one running the games.
That's weird.
Is it?
Yeah, because it doesn't feel that way at all now. And now when I hang out with those friends, I don't talk as much, and I feel super awkward.
Well, okay. Anyway, so I didn't talk as much for a number of reasons. One, a lot of people. So it wasn't just usually hanging out with you. It was usually hanging out with your entire friend group.
Yeah, which is only 3 other people, but still.
But yeah.
This is driving me nuts. I'm afraid it's going to fall.
Okay, so only one of us is allowed to fidget, is what you're saying.
You can fidget all you like, but with your phone precariously balanced upon your knee while fidgeting, it just makes me nervous.
Okay.
Especially since it looks so much like my phone now.
So really you're worried that I'm going to damage your phone in some way?
No, my phone's over here, but still I have this subconscious worry about my phone.
About me damaging your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was that. And I think as when we were talking about this earlier in the week, I'd come off a string of situations where it seemed like the less I talked, the more attractive I was.
Okay.
Which sometimes backfires, but also sometimes doesn't.
Well, it didn't with me, but that's because, you ended up talking with me and communicating, and communication has been a big part of our relationship.
Yes, mostly driven by you.
Yeah, but it has been a big part of our relationship, and it's why we have this podcast. It's I think why our relationship works is because we communicate a lot and we communicate fairly well most of the time. And if we hadn't grown into that, then we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yep. This is also true. So, but you mentioned that you now talk less.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think maybe because I don't like having to be on.
On?
Yeah.
Explain.
I don't like being the belle of the ball.
Okay, but like, if we're not at a party, you're not usually...
Right, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm with you. I don't have to do that. I talk a lot less.
So even there, it's like, oh, thank God, I can take off my bra.
Yeah, my social bra has been removed, but instead of flopping around and getting in everyone's faces, my no, that metaphor just doesn't work. Like they retracted, they sucked up. I don't know. I have less.
Instead of having the bouncy cleavage that you displayed to
push
everyone,
forward. I'm just letting it hang.
Yeah,
just letting it hang. Just letting it all hang.
Yep.
So that's.
So how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I feel weird. I mean, like, this is a period when we have to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting.
Well, yeah, that's why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. And I like talking to you, but I feel like I don't talk to you enough. I feel like I don't have enough to say. Often prompted by the fact that you expect me to talk to you as you're falling asleep. And I'm like, I got nothing to say. Like, so what's new? I don't know. Nothing. You know everything I know.
Well, that's never true.
I know, but in my mind it is.
Okay. That doesn't work.
What do you think of your cocktail?
It's pretty good, actually. It's very, nicely... It's got a balance of sweet and tart, sour.
It is a very mild alcohol. Alizé is
very straightforward. Not a lot of hidden mystery.
No, but it's also only 16% alcohol.
That's fine.
So it's like wine.
Yeah.
And we're having less than a glass. We're having 3 shots on ice each.
Yeah. Of
Alizé. I just had to finish off the bottle.
Okay.
I'll use the shot glass to make sure we each got exactly the same amount.
Well, perfect. Good job. And then you said, but attractiveness you wanted to talk about as well.
Well, you had mentioned that you felt being quiet made you more attractive, and I don't know if that's the case.
Well, I mean, that's not the case for you.
Right. It didn't make you more attractive to me, the fact that you were quiet. The more you talked to me, the more attracted I became to you.
Right.
And the more in love I fell.
Well, that took a while.
It did take a while.
A lot of work on my part.
Was it?
I had to be cute, charming, nice.
Yeah, you were all those things.
So much nicer than I am now.
And then you had to take off your bra. I know, that's not what I meant. And then you got me, and you took off the cute, nice bra.
Exactly. Jeez.
Alright, so I want to be more talkative, and interacting with people at work is just like...
Well, okay.
In fact, there's been a couple times where I'm like trying to say something, the words won't come out right. I'm like, yeah, it's been a year of not talking to anyone. Sorry. I'll make excuses for why I can't talk right anymore, but I have trouble speaking to people now.
Well, okay, here's a question. Do you feel that... I sometimes feel like you keep stuff to yourself because you feel like it's safer to do that.
I'm trying not to do that. You've called me out a couple of times on not talking about things like outfits and giving you my honest opinion on outfits that you're wearing. Things like that. And so I'm trying to be more no sense of omission, trying not to keep things to myself and so on. Mm-hmm. But go on with what you're saying.
Well, I guess, do you now have the feeling like you'll get along more easily if you don't say everything that's on your mind? And I don't mean... So I know that vulnerability is a big part of what you value.
In me.
Yes, but I wonder if you like being vulnerable in only very specific ways.
I'm chewing on Russell Stover sugar-free stevia extract candy gems, so M&Ms.
Non-spawn.
Non-spawn. I don't know. I've got no answer to that question. Which wasn't really a question. It was just a pondering.
His mind went blank. Something that rhymes with blank.
He had a spank.
No.
And it is him we thank for our opportunities. I probably... There are certain types of vulnerability I probably don't embrace. There are certain secrets I still have deep inside my soul. I'm sure you have some too. I'm sure you probably have quite a few more than I do.
Why do you say that?
Because I am so open about almost everything.
Okay. So you just contradicted yourself.
Well, I'm saying I probably have 1 or 2 things left that are somewhat... Oh, didn't that one?
No, it's just a... I don't mean secrets, necessarily.
No, but when you talk about vulnerability, that's like the only thing left, is that, there are certain things I don't talk about because they're too dark for even me to be open about, and deep inside my soul. Cat, stop touching me.
Well, that didn't actually.
Cat.
I didn't actually mean darkness. I feel like you share your darkness relatively freely. Like, so on the other podcast, or in contemplating topics for the other podcast, when I ask you to tell a story, but one that doesn't involve trauma,
That's not possible. I don't have any stories that don't involve trauma.
So
At
I
least
feel
not
like
funny ones.
So I feel like you feel very comfortable sharing your darkness and your trauma, but you maybe feel less comfortable sharing other parts of yourself.
But I don't know what those parts are, so I can't answer if that's true. I mean, you're probably right. You observe me better than I observe me. You do. You actually pay attention to the things I say and do more than I do.
Heaven forbid.
But I can't say what those things would be.
Right.
Can you?
No, but of course I'm constantly encouraging you to find them, just because someday I'd like to record a podcast that doesn't leave people
Traumatized?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that was a joke.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, I'm worried about the thing the cat's playing with.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess that covers that. I don't know what else to say about the talking. I would like to be better at talking to people who aren't
Me.
interesting. I really suck at talking to people I'm not interested in talking to. I'm so bad at it. I used to be good at it. I used to be really good at being charming with strangers, despite being an introvert. And now I'm just like, no, I got nothing left for you fuckers. You all need to just go away or shut up.
Well, how many strangers do you even interact with?
I go to a job. I interact with strangers all the time.
Well, that's the work, though. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
Like, how much... You don't have to be charming to work people.
Yes, you do.
Hmm.
You do. I mean, if you're in management, you kind of do.
All right.
I don't know. Are you a manager?
No.
Okay. I have been for a while, and this is a particularly management-heavy position.
Yeah, no one puts me in charge of people.
With a lot of relationships to manage, and it's just like, fuck. Just let me sit in a computer.
Yeah, working in fundraising, I am a data person in fundraising, and I very much maintain that. I'm like, oh, that's a stewardship question. Like, I don't want to have to figure out the best way to interact with someone that needs to be asked about money later.
You know the phrase, the best way to skin a cat or whatever?
There's more than one way to skin a cat?
There's more than one way to skin a cat. One of the ways you skin a cat is you take a hold of the parallel rings and push yourself up till they're about hip high. Push yourself up on the parallel rings about hip high, and then you swing your legs up and over your head and spin around. You know, spin around horizontally, and so your arms are now twisted like this. That's called skinning the cat.
Okay, so you're talking about gymnastics now.
Yep. That's the one thing I remember from acrobatics class.
Oh, right.
So gymnastics class. I remember a lot from acrobatics class, because acrobatics class I did 15 years ago, and gymnastics I did when I was 10.
I've never done gymnastics.
Yeah, I did it briefly when I was 10.
Yes.
I also briefly did Aikido and Judo around that time. They really wanted to get me active, because I was a slightly chubby child. Now I'm a fat adult. It didn't work.
They should have... Well, I mean, I guess they could have made that work a bit better by giving you a stable childhood.
A more stable childhood would have probably helped a great deal. It would have helped me avoid the meth, which led to being a fat adult. It's surprising how fat you get after you quit doing meth, and how long that lasts. Usually until you die. And usually you don't have time to get fat, so...
Okay.
Most people who die of meth die from suicide when they quit meth.
Okay, so of people who don't...
I think the ones I've met have tended to get fat, but I mean, I'm the main one I've met. Most of the others... Well, Jeffrey did pretty good at staying healthy and thin.
And then...
Jeffrey Wonderful.
Yes, and then died.
And he died, but he didn't die because of the meth, probably. Well, he died. I don't know how he died. I know he'd started drinking again last time I'd seen him, and we weren't getting along, and I was really looking forward to connecting with him, and then he died in a motorcycle accident. And I don't know if he quit drinking or if he was drinking when he died, or I don't know any of the details of his death other than he died in a motorcycle accident.
Yes.
Yeah. He was one of my best friends. And we were estranged for a couple of years. Estranged for a couple of years. And those, unfortunately, were the couple of years before he died. So, anyway, going back to happy topics.
Right. Okay.
Is it not a happy topic?
Next topic.
Okay, not a happy topic. Wedding part 2. We're just going to skip that and go over to wedding part 2. No, we shouldn't. We should talk about it.
No, we can go to wedding part 2.
No. Let's talk about it.
I said you could be in charge of this week, so.
And we'll do the one that I picked.
Okay.
You're going into surgery in like 2 weeks. So, what do we need to do if something happens?
Well, as I said, Facebook post.
Okay. But what are we calling something?
What do you?
What kind of something are we thinking of? Like, on what level do I actually post that on Facebook? On what level do I need to tell people something happened? I mean, if there's just a complication, if there's, I mean, what is the rule? I don't want to spill your personal details all over the internet if it's not necessary.
If it seems like I'm not going to be able to make such a post myself, then you would be in charge of letting people know. You are generally in charge of letting people know that I'm okay.
Okay.
So conversely, you'd be in charge of letting people know that I'm not okay.
Okay, but what else would I have to do?
What do you mean?
Beyond that, say you passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not going to happen because this is a simple, basic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But what else would I have to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to be aware of? What things do, like, how do I pay the mortgage?
With money.
No, like, I don't know who, things like that. Well, which are not things we have to talk about right now. But
they send a statement in the mail.
Okay. And then I just pay the statement from the mail.
Yeah. I mean, there are some bills that come in that are just email only. And then but the mortgage, we get a statement every month.
Okay.
PG&E, I think we get a statement every month.
Okay.
So some of the primary things you'll have paper trails of, as long as you're keeping on top of the mail. And other things you probably need to have access to my email to know about. And to some extent, you do have access to my email because you have access to my phone.
Just remembering the code to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I've got it in the right order now. I had the code down for a while. For a few days, I had the code down, but then I didn't do it for like a week, and then I lost it again.
Mm.
I know what it starts with and what it ends with and what the two middle numbers are. I just don't know the order of the two middle numbers.
Well, fortunately, it gives you more than one chance to figure it out.
Okay. Well, I feel a little bit better for that. But
I mean, obviously, you'd want to tell people in person first. Like my mom, and my mom would probably be there. Cousin.
Yeah.
Close family members probably wouldn't want to find it on social media. but for...
Well, if I tell the professor and I tell your mom, then they can tell the other close family members.
Yes. And then otherwise, it would
but then it'd be also your best friends.
Yeah.
So I'd have to get into your phone and try and find your best friends' numbers and call them, but I'm sure they're all in there by name, so...
Yeah. If you can remember their names.
I do. All three of them.
Okay.
One of them being Snuffleupagus. I consider one of your best friends.
Great. Yeah, so, I mean, just little things like that.
Okay. So what happens if something happens to me?
I let your parents know.
Okay.
I let your...
Do you have phone numbers for my mom and my dad?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to have them... let's see, I used to have your mom saved under your contact, and that got confusing, so I gave her her own contact. Your dad, I think I still have saved in your contact. So, if I get a text message from your dad, it looks like it comes from you, which is fine. I would have to let your friends know, which would require me accessing your email probably, or checking my email to see if their contact information is in.
You know how to access my phone?
Yes.
Okay. Then, and the same code for my phone goes for all of my computers.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they made me switch to a PIN on my computers instead of a password, which is I find really annoying. But I only have a handful of pins, so
that's convenient.
Yeah. So you can get to my email from there. You have to let my work know.
That'll be challenging.
So I'm not just no-showing.
You'd have to let my work know as well.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, if you no-show, at that point, it would have the least possible negative repercussions. Like, what are they going to do, fire you?
Yeah. Yeah. But they might send you a nice gift. So, it'd be good to let them know.
Their gift. Yeah, maybe a nice plant.
Or, you know, if you do a GoFundMe for my cremation.
Right, or they could give you life insurance and then...
Oh, that's not going to happen. There are 7 employees. They're not going to give me life insurance. Okay. And I assume you want to be buried with your dad.
Well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts about that.
Okay. And you know what I want.
You want to have a clown jazz funeral.
Essentially, clowns in the rain. Pour my ashes out. Or whatever you do with ashes. I don't care. Just I want my memorial to be where it's raining and there to be clowns.
Right.
I want clowns. I want rain. I want some good music. You can play my Feel Better Spotify playlist. Or not. I mean, you can pick music you like instead.
I mean, you can... Yes, it would be appropriate to play songs that you like. It'll be the drum and bass funeral playlist.
That Baby Shark Click More remix.
Something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that covers the topic. So when do you start dating again? After I go?
Well, I mean, do you have any cute friends who will be at the funeral?
Well, if you invite the right clowns, yeah.
So make a list.
Okay.
Of all your clueless clown friends. All right.
So.
Wait, was that a serious question?
I just want you to continue dating after I'm gone. I don't want you to get stuck in a rut.
I mean, dating requires putting up with a lot of bullshit.
Okay, I mean, I want you to have sex with someone other than me.
Oh.
And potentially have relationships with people.
So, it sounds like instead of cremating you, I should have you taxidermied.
No, I don't think it sounds like that at all. I don't think it's going to help your love life to have a stuffed dead husband in the bedroom. I don't think that's going to be good for you in the long run.
Well, I mean, it really depends on how good the taxidermist is.
Okay. So, wedding part 2. What are we going to do?
I don't know. We haven't really done anything yet.
Nope. We still need to put down the
deposit
and pick a date and all that kind of crap.
Clothes and...
Yeah, and I think currently, the last time we talked, we're looking at November 1st of 2022.
We were?
That's the last thing I remember us talking about. But
okay. Because
it just feels like May of 2022 is... This is 2021, right? It feels like May of 2022 will be in the middle of, like maybe just done reconstruction possibly or about to, and just feels like there's still surgery on the horizon and recuperation on the horizon, and like May is too soon to do wedding number 2.
Okay.
But November 1st seems like a good day to do November. November 1st seems like a good day to do November.
Alrighty.
But how do you feel about this?
I mean, that seems very far off, but you are better with timelines than I am, so it might be entirely realistic. As you know, I tend to be more optimistic about time, and so more often disappointed.
That is a word for it. Optimistic.
What?
That is a word.
Was a facial expression.
I would call it willfully ignorant of the process of time. That you just ignore the fact that things happen in a certain order, and that you have to hit all the steps before you get from point A to point C. I think you go like, okay, well, I'm right here. I'm at A, and I need to get to F, and getting to F, that would probably be about this amount of time, but you skip B, C, D, and E in the process. Sometimes.
What does that mean?
That means you're not good at estimating time, is what I'm saying.
All right, fine.
Is that fair? Am I being unfair?
Nope, that's probably fair.
Okay. But
Willfully ignorant, though.
I kind of sometimes get the impression that you're just like, fuck time, I'll do it as I want to and I'll get there on time. But that doesn't work out that way. You even mentioned that someone else had mentioned to you, well, remember to factor in the time it takes to get from your car to the place that you're going to. And you're like, that was mind-blowing to you, the idea that you would have to factor in the time beyond just the drive, but, you know, also the time that it takes to get dressed and get showered and get all your stuff together and get out the door and then get from your car to where you're going to get settled.
Right. Yes, all of that stuff.
This is not supposed to be me bagging on you. That was not the goal.
You're right. It's always better when I'm bagging on you.
It's a little better when you're bagging on me. I'm less worried about one of us getting hurt.
Why?
Because I don't ever want to hurt you.
Okay.
In a non-consensual way.
Right. I mean, I am a grown-up.
You are.
In theory.
In practice, most of the time.
You're chewing on your ice. Right. So let's use that as an estimation and then see what actually spring looks like.
Okay. What do we tell your mom?
I mean, nothing at this moment.
Okay.
The problem with my mom is there's no way to give her information without it coming back around to bite you. Like, even if you tell her you're working on stuff that she wants you to work on, like, it'll then be like she's applying a mental timeline to it that is completely outside of the scope of my mental timeline, and then it just becomes
Maybe
annoying.
that's where you get it.
What do you mean?
Your time dysphoria.
I get it from my mom?
Maybe.
Okay.
I get my inability to mail things and my, for most of my life, propensity to just lie from my parents. Also probably my anger and my frustration at not knowing things.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of my negative traits from my parents. Probably get a lot of positive ones from them too, but those aren't the ones you focus on.
Yep, because you gotta focus on the crack in the sidewalk and not the rest of the street.
That sounds like a bad idea. If there are cars and people walking and giant plates of glass being carried by two guys with coveralls on and maybe someone with a big ladder they're swinging around.
You really only have to worry about that when you are riding a motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Though I will say that I did used to walk down the street while reading magazines and books, newspapers and books, until the day that I ran into a light pole, and then I stopped doing that. But I did get some lovely scars.
Okay. That sucks.
Yeah.
The light pole give you scars?
Yeah, yeah.
Yuck.
Because I ran into it with my shin, and then my shin started bleeding, and then, you know.
So instead of talking about the next topic on the list, let's talk about some of our favorite YouTube channels.
Okay, so you're going to put off the spoilery topic for another week?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Because we do spoilers almost every week. I figure this is 1 week we don't have to do spoilers.
Right. We can wait till next week.
I like the Tri Channel.
Mm-hmm. We were just watching the Tri Channel.
You also like the Tri Channel. No?
I like the Tri Channel. I liked the Facts Channel.
More than the Tri Channel?
I don't know about more. There's something very puzzling about the entire concept of what they do.
Well, Fax is gone now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it migrated into being the Tri Channel.
Well, I think the company probably folded and the other people just decided to keep doing it under a different name.
Yeah. It's not really clear to me what... I mean, I think it's just one of those personality-driven things. So it's not clear to me how it works.
Well, I mean, they get sponsorships, and they have a lot of sponsored episodes, and they must make money off YouTube ad revenue. I don't know how else they can do it unless they're getting grants.
Right.
I don't know how things work in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But the Tri Channel is a bunch of Irish people trying things. Usually alcohol or spicy stuff, but often it's just like durian or...
Well, to be fair, we mostly watch the alcohol and spicy stuff.
To be fair, we watch every single episode they put out.
No, there's some episodes you like to skip. We've watched more... I feel like if I were not here, that you would skip more of the non-alcohol related episodes.
Maybe.
Because you like the alcohol and the spice most.
I like the alcohol and them suffering the most. And I like watching things with you, so that's probably where we watch them all.
Right.
Are there any other YouTube channels that we both like? We both kind of enjoy Emmy Made in Japan.
Yeah, except you never want to watch her lately, it seems like.
It really depends on what she's doing. I got into her because she used to eat bugs.
Oh, okay.
And and I like her MRE videos, where she tries different MREs. But the TikTok recipes don't do a lot for me.
She like watching people eat weird stuff.
Yeah. Is there another channel we both like? Tasty. We like Tasty. Like Ria's Make It Fancy and stuff.
You like Tasty.
Oh, you don't like Tasty?
I don't dislike Tasty, but I wouldn't watch it of my own. I don't usually watch it of my own accord.
Except you make me play it. I would always like, oh, play that. Oh, play that.
Well, sometimes. Like when it's an interesting looking recipe, but then sometimes you find recipes triggering, and then so then we don't watch them as much unless it's a personality that you like.
I have tons of YouTube channels that I love, but are there any others that we both like?
Well, why does it have to be something we both like?
To share as a recommendation for the people out there.
Well, I mean, but there are lots of YouTube channels that you like that I don't like that you would still recommend, right?
One.
Like Many a True Nerd and...
That would be the one. If people like Let's Plays or like watching people play video games, he is a fun, engaging British man with a great voice. Not all strident. And I say that because I like another British man who's very strident.
Jim Sterling?
Now James Stephanie Sterling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
James Stephanie Sterling of the Gemquisition. And but Mini a True Nerd, an excellent YouTuber who does really good Fallout related content amongst other stuff.
And you like Loading Ready 1?
I love Loading Ready Run. Loading Ready Run is a Canadian sketch comedy troupe that does a whole bunch of different stuff, very little of which is sketch comedy. They used to do a ton of sketch comedy and they stopped a couple years ago and now focus more on other things.
They do a lot of magic?
They do a lot. Well, they have a second channel that's just magic. They have multiple YouTube channels. Okay. They're a bit like the Rhett and Link in that way.
Okay.
But much better than Rhett and Link, who are kind of annoying. Rhett and Link are like 2/3 annoying, whereas Loading Ready Run is like 1/7 annoying. Okay. Yeah, so not bad. Not bad odds. Okay. What about you?
Well, some of the I watch. I feel like I watch less. Like there was a time I did a deep dive into YouTube, and I feel like I'm watching less YouTube. But the people I watch now, I watch more for personality than content necessarily. Like there's a woman I watch regularly Just Call Me Wah, who does a lot of like recap videos for reality television. I don't watch reality television, but I appreciate the way that she does her recaps, and I think she's, funny, so I like to watch her stuff. And also just to support. Let's see. Something I watch consistently. I feel like lately, especially since there's a lot of times when I don't want to watch YouTube, I just want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff that I would have watched that I don't watch now because if I need to keep my eyes on the screen, it's just not going to happen. So I end up listening to more long-form essays and podcasts lately.
I like that too. Though for me, my long-form stuff is usually Magic the Gathering Commander-oriented.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, now it's like pop culture essays, but it's like, it's got to be the right kind of voice. It can either be a very soothing voice that fades into the background, or it can be a very engaging voice that keeps me on topic. But it can't be like, it's got to hit some points.
So no Lindsay Ellis for you?
No, because Lindsay Ellis has a very, to me, irritating way of being.
Okay.
It's not anything that she says. It is just the way that her personality is.
Okay.
So she's got a very sort of sarcastic thing that she does. Mm-hmm. And obviously I like sarcasm. But the style of sarcasm that she embodies, I do not like as much.
Okay. That's fair. Who is someone that you listen to for essays and on pop culture?
Well, obviously, another thing that happened was when I first started watching YouTube a lot, I realized that I was watching a lot of very popular creators, and I started looking for more minority voices, so I ended up watching a lot of black YouTubers and a lot of black queer YouTubers. So lately, I've been watching a lot of Khadija Mbowe. I don't know how her name is pronounced exactly, Khadija Mbowe. She does a lot of like sociology-oriented video essays. For Harriet and also Kimberly Nicole Foster. I don't always understand everything that she's talking about, but I appreciate that her stuff is well researched and she has a lot of enthusiasm for what she does. I listened to an essay of hers today, actually. They have a YouTube channel, but they're not quite YouTubers, at least not at the moment. But usually my week is like on Monday I might listen to. I used to listen to the ADD Squadcast podcast. I don't listen to that as much anymore. But so Monday, that's something that I can maybe tune into. Tuesday, I'm usually looking for The Read, which I usually listen to on SoundCloud, but they also have a YouTube channel. Wednesday, Kev on Stage Studios puts out Here's the Thing, which sometimes is fun to listen to, and sometimes I have to click out of because it really depends on how the conversation goes. They're not necessarily great at staying on topic. But if they are on topic, and if the topic is something I'm interested in, then I usually like listening all the way through. Because I really like the co-host Angel. That chick Angel. And then staying in the ADD family, I realized that Doughboy, who used to have a podcast called Righteous and Magic with Kev on Stage, he's got a new podcast with another comedian named CT called the Just Us League. So I would usually try to check that out. If not, I think it comes out on Wednesdays usually, but I don't always listen to it on Wednesdays. But so it's interesting to listen to that just because one of the people, Doughboy, he strikes me as a very retrograde kind of thinker.
Okay.
Not really the most progressive. And then CT, it balances him out somewhat because CT still has some aspects of masculinity that I don't appreciate, but is still more progressive than Doughboy. So it's interesting to hear them talk about stuff and just see, their perspective on things and where their minds go. I don't know. It's interesting. And then I end up watching the Phil DeFranco show just because I like to, I don't watch the news anymore because I don't turn on the TV anymore. So if I want to catch news stories, it's either me listening to NPR in my car or whatever news stories are covered on the morning radio shows that I listen to, again, in my car, or the Phil DeFranco show, or, whatever headlines come across my timeline on my phone or or the Facebook or the Twitter. So, but I'm like trying to think about like what do I watch just for fun, and I don't know that I watch anything that's just fun. Like I used to enjoy watching Evelyn on the internet, because she had a lot of funny videos, but she doesn't put out as many videos anymore, and I feel like some of the people that I used to watch just for enjoyment, like Evelyn on the internet, or like she used to be known as Foxy Hot Mess, now known as Jade Fox. It's like they for some of them, some of their content goes over to Patreon, because one of the things that happens when you are a minority YouTuber, and especially a gay YouTuber, is that your channel often gets demonetized. So if you're trying to figure out how to keep your income flow going, well, you might move over to Patreon, where you're not dependent on ads and the YouTube monetization, which is a little fickle. So some of that I miss because I'm not on, because I don't follow, because I'm not a patron. And some of it is people are burned out, and so their content, their upload schedule's gotten more sporadic, but it's also gotten a lot more sad. So like, and people are finding it, a lot of people are finding it very hard. Like, a lot of people that I used to follow just for fun are finding it very hard to maintain their upload schedules because they're going through depression. And so when they come back, it's like, I'm going to do the best that I can, but it's got to be alive, and let's talk about our, and I'm fine with talking about feelings, but also...
You don't really need to be shouldering someone else's depression. Yeah.
So I don't always tune in for that, just because, like, there are going to be parts of it that I get a lot out of, but if it's going to be an hour long, and I'm only going to get enjoyment out of, like, 15 minutes of it, and those 15 minutes are not going to be consecutive, then I definitely support. I definitely wish the best for them, but I'm not always going to be watching those videos.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know, and like
go ahead.
Like Megan Tonjes and Nicola Foti, who had a podcast together called What the Sweet Fuck, which again has a very sporadic uploading schedule now because they both went through major depressions, and now Megan has moved back to the Midwest, so they're doing everything on Zoom, and there's just a lot of emotions that are outside of what they do that affects what they do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I haven't updated my clown podcast in like 3 or 4 weeks. I was updating it every 2 weeks all year. I made it all the way up until about 3 weeks ago, and then it just stopped. And it won't start again until whenever.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's a hard time. And I think since I spend so much time, sitting at my work desk, I can't really watch videos there, so it's got to be something I can listen to. Mm-hmm. In the car, I can't watch videos, it's got to be something I can listen to. Yeah. So yeah, I think for me, it's mostly essays and podcasts.
Well, quickly, before we wrap up, what podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, mostly...
Recommend 3.
Okay. Recommend 3. Can you go first?
Sure. First podcast I recommend is Paul F. Tompkins and a lady whose name I can't remember right now, and I should, and that makes me feel sad. The Neighborhood Listen. The Neighborhood Listen is an improv podcast in which they're taking posts from Nextdoor, and then having the person, quote unquote, who made those posts on their Neighborhood of Dignity Falls discussion podcast to talk about their posts. So it's all improvised.
Okay.
Based off of posts on Nextdoor that they find.
Alrighty.
And it's incredibly funny. Then second to that would be Freedom, which is Scott, Paul F. Tompkins, Scott Ackerman from Comedy Bang Bang, and Lauren Lapkus, who's an actor and comedian. It's just the three of them talking over each other for an hour, but it's really, really good. It's incredibly funny. And then lastly would probably be Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is another long-form improvised comedy podcast that takes place in a magical, fantastical world.
Wow.
Those are my 3 podcast recommendations. Go!
Well, I feel like, again, the only podcast I'm listening to with any regularity is The Read. I'm just kind of looking through what my people that I follow on SoundCloud are. How Did This Get Made is pretty funny, but sometimes a little...
I didn't know you listened to that.
I do sometimes, but sometimes it's a little inside baseball.
I'm a fan of Paul Scheer.
Okay. I really thought you were going to end that sentence with F. Tompkins.
No, he's not on How Did This Get Made. Paul Scheer, I like him in other things, though. I haven't really listened to much of How Did This Get Made. I have a friend who I used to date who despises his voice.
Why?
I just can't stand Paul Scheer's voice.
A friend you used to date, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So How Did This Get Made, The Read, and... How Did This Get Made is a podcast where they talk about movies.
Terrible movies.
Terrible, terrible movies.
And wondering how they got made. Which is, like... I actually enjoy sometimes taking in really terrible stuff.
Mm-hmm. You do.
And you don't.
It depends on the stuff.
Okay, what bad stuff do you enjoy taking in?
Food.
Media-wise.
We can go over that another time. As its own topic.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm going to stop with 2.
Oh, come on.
What?
You can't do one more?
Well, let me see. What else do I watch or listen to? Let me check my library. Here's my history. Well, I mean, Well, here's the thing: is the Kev on Stage Studios podcast.
Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
I don't know that I necessarily recommend that.
Okay.
It's like, it's one of those things that if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, I don't know that I want to be responsible for people's sense of humor about certain things.
I'll give a bonus one.
Okay.
Spontaneation, which is not on the air anymore, but the archives are still there, and it ran for 4 years and hundreds of episodes, and it's a long-form comedy improv podcast with Paul F. Tompkins and like 6 or 7 other people that rotate, and they have a guest on, and they'll interview the guest,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll do a improv long form based around ideas from that interview.
Okay.
It's really good.
So not a podcast necessarily, but a YouTube channel named FD Signifier. I have been enjoying his essays lately. And he does, again, more of that pop culture sort of essay sort of stuff.
Cool.
And also, scroll up. I just saw a thing.
Scroll up.
Oh, not a podcast and not a YouTuber, but the Amber Ruffin Show.
Oh, Amber Ruffin's great.
I love her.
Okay. All right, guys. We did it. We did the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're fond of you. We'd like to hear from you. Drop us a line at Gherkin@picklewater.com.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know you're listening to this. And where you're listening to it from. And how you found us in the first place.
And ask us a question. Or ask us for advice.
Or ask us for advice.
Which is still a question.
Just still a question of sorts.
We are open to your input.
We're open to your input. We'll talk to you in a week. Bye.
Bye.
Theme music by Kevin MacLeod, Incompetech.com.